I'm going to talk to you about how I use Socrative. Socrative is an assessment tool designed for teachers, which it's really great. And so what you do is you go to t.socrative.com. I know it says M up here, but it's t.socrative.com, and that takes you to the teacher version of Socrative. So once you log in, this is kind of what the landing page looks like, and there's a lot of things you can do. A lot of it's quiz-based, so you can do a quiz that either you or your students pace. So if it's student-paced, then as the students answer a question, it'll give them feedback immediately on if they got it right or wrong, and then move on to the next question. And you can do short answer, multiple choice, true, false, all sorts of stuff. You can do exit tickets, and you can do a space race where when you answer questions right, it moves a spaceship along a track, which is kind of cool. But what I'm going to talk about today is the single question activities, specifically these short answer ones here. So how I've used Socrative is kind of as a back channel discussion tool. We were designing a lab recently. I don't know if you heard, there was a mysterious white powder found at the Super Bowl, and so we kind of designed a lab around the idea of if you had a mysterious white powder, how would you identify it? And then identifying a mysterious white powder that I gave them. So when we were designing our labs, we needed to come up with an objective and kind of identify our variables and things like that. So what I did is I took these single questions activities, I chose short answer, and so what you can do is your students will use your room number that's given up here and to log into your Socrative classroom. And so whatever you throw at them, they will see those questions pop up on their device. So I've got my devices out ready to go so I can be my own student right now. But my first question when we were designing the lab was, what would your objective be? And so I did unlimited student responses and anonymous, because then students can participate and not have to worry about being embarrassed if they say something maybe not quite right. So now on the device, this is what it looks like. It pops up with the question that I sent them and a little space for them to answer. So a student might say that their objective would be to identify an unknown powder. And then maybe another student on their iPad, because we are all Apple products, might say, and then their response shows up here, might say to test things. So now we've got two responses. And what you can do, which is what I think is really cool about this, is you can throw it back to the students to vote on what they think is the best. So what shows up now is their screen looks like this, and so it gets the options of what answers they can choose from, and then they vote on it. And so they choose which one they think is the best. And both my students, meaning my split personalities, decided that to identify an unknown powder was the best objective compared to just to test things. And so this is kind of what we went through each step of the experimental design process, and use Socrative as a way for us to collaboratively design and write our lab procedures. And so this is how I've used Socrative in my classroom. It's a great tool. It's about modification on the SAMR model. And yeah, so you can end the activity, and what you can do is you can email the report to yourself. So then it'll show up, an email will be sent to you, and it has a little Excel spreadsheet in there with all of the student responses. It's very convenient. Thanks for hanging out with me for a couple minutes.